Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. They're trying to age Terence Crawford out. That's what a lot of people feel. But I'm going to tell you what. Just maybe some of these fighters are calling for a Crawford fight because they know he's getting older. And no matter what you and I feel when it comes to aging, Father Time is undefeated. Now, the thing about them trying to age Crawford out to finally get in the ring and have a chance with him, this is the thing. Crawford, he may give them that opportunity. Now, I couldn't find a quote, but somebody posted something on toxic Twitter, and shit you read on there, you got to take with a grain of salt because most of the time people make up stuff. But I thought it was worthy to mention to you guys. Now, make sure you become a member of the channel. You subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Leave a donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. And pick up some of the Hood Champion merch. The fact that someone said Crawford was like, no matter what happens with the Canelo fight, I will continue fighting and plan on moving back down to 154. I'm telling you right now, I just does not sound like something that Terence Crawford said or would say. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you come out here and you read the direct quotes that we can actually validate came from Crawford, Crawford is saying stuff like, hey, look, no matter what, I'm going to be great as Muhammad Ali when I'm victorious against Canelo. Now, I did hear him say, no matter what the outcome is, he said something along the lines of, he ain't really worried about it. It's going to be what it's going to be. But he's there to fight and he's there to win. And he believes he can win. And I believe he believes he can win. The blockbuster fight that Crawford was able to ascertain against Spence, I just don't think it was the energy surrounding that blockbuster event. I just don't think it carried into the next 6 months, a year, even to where we are now. I think it fizzled out because it's just like seeing a shooting star. That's what that was for Crawford, a nice, bright shooting star. Psh, then what? Everyone's like, oh, then what? Psh, the shit just fizzles out. And that was, for Crawford, it was a shooting star moment. It didn't last long. So now he has an opportunity for another blockbuster type fight. But this is the one that I think is going to last. And I don't think it's going to burn out anytime soon. If it will, it probably won't burn out for another 50, 60 years from now. By then, most of us will be long gone unless we start chewing on ginseng roots and shit. It can extend our life expectancy. But Crawford and Canelo are two fighters who are the best in the world at the moment. But if Crawford does beat him, right, and go on to become a top 3 all-time pound-for-pound fighter when he gets in it with Canelo, because this is what Crawford feels. He's going to be a top 3 all-time pound-for-pound fighter. Now, if he's able to beat Canelo, why would he come back down? When he's sitting here telling you there's only going to be 3. It's going to be Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, and then Terence Crawford. I can't imagine a guy who's going into a fight with Canelo who's anticipating being cemented alongside the names of Ali and Robinson to lose the fight and then say, all right, well, I'll just go down to 154. Because who knows what happens in that fight with him and Canelo. I do think Crawford's going to get hit. I think Canelo's going to get hit. But this could be one of those things, like I say, where maybe a fighter has a pound of flesh taken out of him, and then because of a tough fight, because of age, well then now he's I'm not going to say easy pickings, but he's clippable. And he comes down to 154 and he loses to somebody who he probably wouldn't lose to right now, like a Fundora. But some things we need to understand, right? People, listen. Crawford spent most of his career at 147. 135, he did the business. 140, he messed around just long enough to become undisputed. 147, he held on there until he finally got Earl Spence and was able to get the undisputed opportunity, and he did the business. He went to 154 for a moment in time to go to 168. What would make anyone think a guy like Crawford, who's moving up the weight ladder, would want to fight Canelo and then come back down the weight ladder? He does not want to mess around with these guys at 154. I'm not saying he's afraid of them. He's looking to make the most money possible. Now, if he were to force himself to melt down from wherever he's going to weigh when he fights Canelo, just because the fight's contracted at 168 doesn't mean he's going to weigh in at 168. But I think he'd be over 160. So to melt off whatever it is he's going to melt off to get back down to 154, I think, I'll put it to you this way. Crawford being in a competitive fight with Canelo would be impressive. Him cutting weight to get back down to 154 would be impressive. But getting in the ring with somebody at 154 would allow that opponent to have an impressive victory over Crawford, because I just don't think he's going to look so impressive after stripping off what would be muscle. And I ain't going to talk about Roy Jones, because if you're a boxing fan, you know what I'm alluding to. But he comes out here and he says, look, man, I just don't think certain spots are going to be taken. Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson. And he says, if I beat Canelo, look, you got to put my name up there. He said, because I feel Canelo, that his name is right there alongside those guys. And that speaks volumes about Crawford, because that lets me know that Crawford, although he's looking to become undisputed in the third weight division, he's jumping way up. He recognizes what's in front of him. He knows Canelo is no joke. But Crawford also knows that he's no joke. And he looks at himself as an all-time great. And he's bubbling up 2 weight classes. You can really say 3, because the 154 jump, okay, he fought there, he checked the box, but really, he wasn't there long enough to say he was a 154-pounder. So he's jumping, it's basically 3 weight division, 154, 160, 168. Okay? And trying to dethrone a guy like Canelo, who could be come a 2-time undisputed at 168, depending on how things go at Skull. I just think for him to step foot in that ring, I just think Crawford deserves, a lot of praise. It's going to be amazing to see him get in there, especially if he can get the victory. This David and Goliath thing, we got to be fair here. Crawford's either going to be David against Goliath, or he's going to be a Goliath versus a Goliath. One day you can't come and say Crawford's naturally a big guy. You're going to see how much bigger he is than Canelo. And then the next day say Crawford's a small guy. He's coming up weight divisions. Canelo has a size advantage. Which one is it? Is Crawford really a guy who walks around at 190? Who was cutting down to 147, 154? Or is Crawford really a guy who's smaller than Canelo, who truly hasn't put on weight? Which one is it? Okay, so I think Crawford, it's safe to categorize him as a small guy fighting a big guy just because of the weight class he fights in. But I don't think he's that much smaller than Canelo. But my thing with people out here acting like Crawford is a David fighting a Goliath, it's like, let's not take it to the stupid. All right? Because he's doing what Canelo did. Okay? Fought in the lighter weight classes, then decided to move up to where he's like, hey, I've earned my spot. This is where I want to be comfortable, and I'm going to do the business. Crawford fought in lighter weight classes, wants to move up somewhere for an opportunity. But he may say, I'm more comfortable here. He's taller than Canelo. So you can't say he's going to be fighting guys that are so much taller than him. He's taller than Canelo, and Canelo's doing the business. Canelo can crack, but so can Crawford. Canelo can box. Crawford boxes better. Crawford has better IQ and skill. Canelo has just perfected what he does. It's like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant wasn't, at a certain point in his career, he was no longer doing all this, anchor cross step, cross between the legs, spin. That bull. He had his spots. He knew if I got to this spot, that's a bucket. And Canelo's kind of like that. I know what I do well. I know what my shots are, and I know if I get into within this distance, I can get these shots off, and I'm gonna score and probably knock somebody out. But Crawford knows that too. But anyway, man, I like when I hear Canelo talk about it's going to be a tough fight, but it's more importantly when I hear Crawford go out here and give direct quotes like this. I can't give a blind judgment if that's going to be the toughest fight of my career. Just like with Canelo, we all know Canelo is great. He's big, he's strong, he has good timing. He has good punching power. He moves his head well. He's a good counterpuncher. We know all that about Canelo. That tells me that Crawford is not coming in here underestimating Canelo. He's coming in here to do the business. But even when you hear him talk like that, there are people who still going to come out here and say Crawford hasn't earned a title shot. Crawford hasn't done nothing in his career to go up and fight Canelo. This is a mockery of the sport. This is horrible. This is just Canelo getting the money grab, easy money with Turki Al-Sheikh. And Turki Al-Sheikh obviously must feel like he owes Crawford something. And that's the other question. Why is Crawford the chosen one? I asked that in another video. Why is he the chosen one? Make you wonder, huh? Why is Crawford the chosen one? I'm going to tell you, because Crawford, with everyone he's been in the ring with, he's made them look like they don't belong. That's why. But anything beyond that, I don't know. But it is an interesting question. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I like the fact that there are fighters out here who are hoping Crawford fights Canelo, then comes back down to 154. That just lets you know, man, that they're trying to age that dude out or hope Canelo takes a pound of flesh out of him. But I don't think they can really count on Canelo taking a pound of flesh out of him. I favor Canelo to win just because you got to be fair here now. Not saying Crawford can't win. I would favor Canelo. But when you hear the fact that Crawford, his whole career, has always fought bigger guys in sparring, has put the bing-bings on bigger guys, has handled the big guys' shots well, I can understand why he feels he has a potential to, not just get the victory, but to possibly knock out Canelo, hitting him with a speedy shot that Canelo doesn't see. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we'll see what happens. Some people feel that him talking about being alongside Robinson and Ali and the top three all around, pound for pound, they just feel that Crawford is just kind of feeling himself too much. And although they say Canelo has kind of cherry-picked his way to the top of the sport, they feel Crawford has cherry-picked his way into this position and he hasn't earned a shot. Even dissing his resume, calling it utterly weak. But I'll tell you this. You can say what you want about Crawford, say what you want about Canelo. I just think we look at what Mayweather did to a young Canelo. I just think Crawford has the ability to do a lot of that stuff as well. And that Canelo that fought Mayweather, yeah, he's smarter now, he has more IQ now, but he's slowed down. He's not throwing those combinations and doing all those things he was doing before. He's not that guy. So don't think that Crawford, who can still do those things, like a young Terence Crawford, he can still do those things. Canelo, I don't know if he can, if he just chooses not to. I just know he doesn't do it anymore. It could, if the fight could get interesting, man. It may even turn to spots where that fight becomes boring. Because if Crawford feels some shit he doesn't like, he is not going to stand there and hold his ground and to try to prove, who could piss the furthest. Like, he's not going to get into a pissing contest with Canelo. He's going to try to hit, not get hit. If it goes to a decision, it goes to a decision. Very simple, man. Anyway, y'all keep cool. The bottom line is Canelo's been holding back in some of his fights. I think it's because he's slipping a little bit. And you got to understand, Canelo's been fighting for a long time, man. Professionally since he's been 15. The man got a bunch of damn fights. What do you expect? Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans on 7 continents. I give Crawford a good chance against Canelo. But if he loses, like the rumors floating around, him saying I'm gonna go back to 154, I can't see the motivation. I can't see it. I'm out here looking on SAMS.gov websites at different opportunities to put a proposal in for contracts. And then I think about going and returning to work sometimes. And I'm going to tell you, to be in the position I'm in, man, I just can't go out here and just go sit in an office and do work. Like I need something that's going to motivate me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not inspired and motivated to just go into an office and work. No matter how much money they're paying me, what level of prestige comes with a position. I'd rather work on my own, so that's what I'm working. That's what I'm doing right now, man. Looking at contracts. So I say that to come full circle and say something has to motivate me. Something's got to motivate Crawford. You don't just go back down to 154. Got to be some motivation. Anyway, we'll see what happens because if he chooses to hang around 168 for some reason, Diego Pacheco, how does that fight go with Crawford? Edgar Berlanga, how does that go with Crawford? Caleb Plant and Billy Munguia, how do those fights go with Crawford? Just any one of them. If Crawford happens to beat Canelo, there may be a rematch. But if he beats him twice, how does that shit go with Crawford fighting those names I just mentioned? Anyway, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.